Yes. Doran speaking. No. Oh, it's impossible, sir. It's impossible. I finished my last case. I'm going on vacation. So long. Add it to my bill, dear.
Okay. The chief wants to see you, mister. Come on.
Wish me luck, baby. Looks like I've had it.
Inspector Doran?
Yes?
We came out on the pilot ship. They're expecting you at headquarters.
Okay. Judging from what my chief told me on the phone, I gathered that your men haven't learned much, that there's no lead for you to follow.
Mr. Doran, it's even worse than that. Up till now, we kept the whole situation very quiet. But another death, and I'm worried that the press might be down on us.
Murder, Chief?
It would seem. We don't know.
Don't know.
The whole thing sounds completely ridiculous. We haven't a single piece of evidence that there was foul play. All we know is that 6 unrelated deaths have recently occurred, and all within a short distance of a famous grotto near here and within the last 6 months.
Chief, are you asking me to find a killer or to establish that a murder has been committed?
I want you to find out exactly what's happened before a full-scale panic hits us.
Assuming there has been a murder, have you been able to discover any traces of...
They were all the same. No motive. Not even a suspect. Just 6 women dead.
Ah, all women?
Yes, women. And all between the ages of 18 and 22.
Interesting. Anything to suggest that they might be sex murders?
No, the medical report shows that none of the girls was molested. I know what you're thinking, but I wouldn't have called you in if my men had anything substantial to go on. You're my one hope. That's why I've asked you to come here.
Okay. I'll give it a try. I can't guarantee anything, naturally.
Of course not.
I'll do what I can.
The deaths all occurred in a village around 60 miles north of here. A private car will be placed at your disposal. You will find a good road map in the car. There's a device for seeing in the dark also in the car. It's an infrared viewer. You'll need it for the grottos. And here, you may need these papers I prepared for the local police, if you need them at all.
I hope not. I'd rather work on my own. I'll go as a tourist on a trip to the grotto. Well, Chief, since that's all the information you can give me, I'd better get on my way. I'll report in to you just as soon as I've had a good look around.
Oh, one more thing. I don't know whether it's relative, but it's interesting. It would appear that during the last 6 months, there's been a great many cuts in power. Each time that one of the girls died, there's been no current for about 1 hour.
In other words, whenever a death took place, there's been blackout there. Well, did you check all the power lines?
Yes, naturally. The engineer looked all over them. The overland line was checked, too. It's not been touched. And yet each time, all the lights have failed, just as if someone had pulled the switch.
Here's to you.
May I take it to my room? Will you need me for anything?
Will you be needed or be wanted?
Sir, you mustn't.
Why do you want to go to sleep? It's such a waste. What have you got there? Well, let's see. Uh-oh. I'm terribly sorry. Now I've broken it. I'll get it fixed. I didn't mean to do that, you know.
Yes. Thank you. I think I'd better go on up to bed. I should get to sleep.
Go on up. I was only fooling. I just wanted to be friendly.
Good night, sir.
Good night. And what am I left with? Just the wine.
Having trouble?
Yes. Good evening.
Can I help you?
I don't believe so. There's something wrong with the electrical system of this car, I'm afraid. And don't those dogs ever shut up?
Oh, they'll stop soon. What are you going to do now?
It's delightful to know that someone cares.
You can hardly spend the night out here.
I hope to find a room in the village.
If it will be any help to you, I'll send someone to look at the car in the morning.
That would certainly be kind. Even my flashlight won't work.
We're used to power failures.
It looks like I'll be staying around this place. So let me introduce myself. Frank Doran.
I'm Karen Schumann. I'm working as secretary to the professor up at the castle.
And you wait here every night to help cars that break down?
Well, not precisely. I was out on my evening walk. You mustn't worry about the car here. There isn't much traffic on this old road.
And when will I see you again?
Do you intend to stay on here?
You could talk me into it.
You should have gotten here 3 weeks ago.
Why is that?
I'm just about finished with my work for the professor.
Oh, what a shame. Anyway, I'd like a chance to thank you.
No need to thank me. You'll find an inn not far from here. They'll have a room. Go right straight down the road. Good night, Mr. Doran.
Once more, thanks a lot. And when do I see you again?
Tomorrow? I'm curious to see if our local hotel satisfies you. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah? Oh, good evening, sir. Good evening. Can I help you?
Good evening. Have you got a room?
A room, sir. These days you can take your pick of them. There's nobody comes here anymore, at least not since the murders began.
Maybe I could come inside before you tell me all the local scandal.
Sorry. But nobody stays, not one guest.
Thank you.
Come in.
No lights?
All these darn power cuts. Every other 5 minutes they're out. Is that your only bag?
No, the rest is still in my car on the edge of town. Can't seem to start it.
Have you had something to eat yet?
No, not yet.
The maid's gone to bed. But what would you say to a nice cold chicken I got? And a wonderful old wine, huh? It's a soul warmer.
You bet. My soul's freezing.
At last. I've been worrying all the time. Where have you been, Miss Karen?
Oh, that's sweet of you. That's very thoughtful. But what if the professor needed you?
I thought of that. That's why I didn't go to the village. Just in case the professor
Oh,
called.
but you really mustn't worry so.
Huh? Oh, the lights went out all over. All the hounds yelling. The moon hid behind the clouds. The wind blew in the trees. Ooh! It's not good for you to be out alone. And there are ghosts, too. Don't laugh, Miss Karen. Don't laugh about ghosts.
Oh, what an imagination. It's most likely this gloomy house. And where's the professor?
I don't know. Just before midnight, the professor said, John, you can go to bed now.
And instead, you've been waiting here for me.
I'll take care of you, Miss Karen. It's not good for you to be alone here. This house is evil.
last. Won't be needing this anymore. How long do you think you'll be staying?
Quite a while, if that was a sample of the meals.
Usually they're better when I've had some advance notice. You can stay here for as long as you want. Are you here on business, sir?
Pleasure.
Well, if you're looking for a good time, I can think of lots better places to go for it.
Well, that doesn't sound very businesslike.
This village seems to be under some kind of curse. In the last 6 months, we've had 6 young women die mysteriously.
And what do the police say about it?
Police. What do they know? They're a lot of fools. They think we're all crazy. You might not know that in the grottos...
What's in the grottos?
You just keep away. They are very dangerous. What if vampires lived in the grottos?
Vampires? Well, that's only superstition.
Not superstition, sir. These are dead who rise at midnight and who come out of their graves and roam in search of human blood to drink.
All right, my friend, all right. Tell me all about it in the morning.
I better keep my mouth shut because nobody believes it or even cares.
I think I'll go to bed now. I'm very tired.
Well, then I'll just wish you pleasant dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Our maid and you are neighbors, and she gets up very early, you know. I hope that you won't be disturbed.
I doubt it, because I'm so sleepy, it won't matter in the least.
If you're bound and determined to visit the grottos, then I think you'd better go and visit old Nanny.
Good night.
Good night.
What's all the racket? Let me sleep, will you?
Open up, police! Open up or we'll break it down.
Okay. I'm coming. I wouldn't do that. All right, my friend, get back there.
Better give me that pistol, or you're going to land in jail, mister.
Don't be so sure. You better be ready to explain your steamroller technique, or you'll be the one to land in jail.
Inspector?
Nice to know you can read.
We're sorry, sir.
We're sorry.
We didn't know, you see.
All right, I want an explanation, quick.
The housemaid, Maria, she's been found dead. She was in the room next to yours.
Murdered?
We aren't sure, sir, but...
You aren't sure, and you go breaking into rooms like this? Are you a couple of comedians or what? A couple of amateur night cops?
Well, you see, these unsolved deaths or murders or whatever you want to call them are driving us nuts.
Well, suppose it was murder, and I'm the murderer. You think that I'd climb back into bed in my room next to her?
We didn't stop to think, I guess.
Then wouldn't you say it's time you started?
Yeah.
Well, now I want to see the body.
Right this way, Inspector.
That makes it number 7, doesn't it? I would say a routine case.
And those?
Superficial scratches. What's it to you? Are you a policeman?
He's a detective, Doctor.
Bet you were sent here to see about these murder investigations. You're just wasting your time around here. There were no murders, you hear? No murders at all. I have already officially stated the cause of death as heart failure in each case. That's my diagnosis. I'm not going to change it.
It wasn't heart failure, Doctor, and you know it. We all know it. But you're afraid to say what you know to be true. It was the vampires, I tell you, that killed Maria last night. They want to punish me because last night I took this cross away from her.
Get rid of that silly old woman. Vampires.
We're supposed to be living in the 20th century.
Sergeant, I shall want to talk to him later.
Right, sir.
Look, your presence here, Inspector, doesn't concern me. I hope, though, that you'll try and quiet some of this talk about murders and vampires.
You could have done it long ago yourself, you know.
What does that mean?
It means when you made out your death certificates, you stated such vague causes. That's what started the rumors.
What should I have put down? Death by vampire bite?
The fact you couldn't be sure and that the cause of death was unknown, and then you perform an autopsy. You must know what that is, Doctor. He's a strange man. Always been like that?
What do you mean, Inspector?
A man must ask questions, especially when he's a doctor. All this vampire talk. I'll have to prove they don't exist.
Don't, sir. Please don't. It's too dangerous. You're not ready yet to have a meeting like this with such things, with vampires. It means certain death for us humans, unless...
Unless what?
You had better go see Nanny.
You who come here from the police, welcome.
Hello, Nanny. I'm here from the...
I know. Come here. Listen. Yes. You're the one. I bid you welcome. You come from afar. Over the great waters. You live at home in a great tower. It is good you are fearless, but still you trust in the power of God. And if your heart doesn't turn to stone, you will conquer the powers of darkness which threaten you. This is your lifeline. As it is at this moment. See where it fades and gets thinner. Understand this. It means much danger for you. They know that you plan their defeat now. If you do not heed me, you will find your life quickly wiped out. Like this suit. Each night at midnight they leave the grottos, gliding over their graves, to visit sleeping ones in their beds.
I have 7 deaths which are to be solved.
Have you? You won't bring one of them back to life again. These women have lost their mortal souls.
Souls are the church's concern, aren't they, Nanny? These murders must come to a stop. The guilty one must answer to justice for them.
He will answer. Judgment Day he will.
I can't wait that long. I must solve this case.
What a pity to lose your life.
If it's true, this murderer is aware of what I plan and why I've been sent to this place, and still greets me with the death of another woman sleeping in the room next to mine, then I...
No, no, no. No, you mustn't look at it like that. No, it didn't happen that way. Maria was doomed to such a fate. And even if you'd not been sleeping in the room next to hers.
Maybe. But who are they? Where are they, those who murdered that girl? I've got to find them.
They are in the grottos, where they were forced over 200 years ago by a curse. They come forth at 12 o'clock for 1 hour minus 1 minute. Come out in quest of the blood of young women which they drink, thus making their bloodless shells into new vampires for eternity.
I can't arrest vampires.
No, you cannot arrest them, though you can save their souls, if you have faith.
What must I do, Nanny? How can I recognize them?
But you can't recognize them. They are like me and you. When they show themselves, when you see a vampire truly, there's no escape left for you. The fangs of the vampire are already thirsty for blood then. There is no means by which you may escape. You'll be lost. Unless...
Unless what?
Bend your head. You must wear this. It will be useful to protect your body. Beware, though. It will not protect your soul from the spirit's evil enticements. They will try all their wiles to get you to remove this cross which I placed about your neck. They live in the loveliest of bodies. Look. Watch how enticingly they dance. You must hide the cross. This was ground from the thorns of mountain roses, which on Walpurgis night are in full bloom. The night when the witches' fires burn on the mountains. This is the weapon against them, against the dark powers. When you find a new victim of the vampires, at once sprinkle this powder on the freshly made wound and the wound will vanish. Vanish completely. And the maiden is restored to life.
Well, where's your jug?
No, I didn't come here for wine. Where's the inspector?
Inspector? What do you want with him?
Oh, forgive me, I'm sorry, sir. Inspector Doran, am I right?
You are?
I bring greetings to you from Professor von Adelsberg. The professor would like Mr. Doran please to come stay with us at the castle.
Oh. I find the accommodations here are very good, though it seems I won't get much sleep. Give my respects to the professor, and say I'll be delighted to accept.
That's fine.
Oh, just a moment. Is the professor the employer of Miss Schumann?
The employer? Oh, yes, that's right, sir.
Stefan! Where are you?
He's down in the cellar.
Oh.
Oh, by the way, my diagnosis was correct. It was heart failure, as in the case of the other victims.
Hmm?
I've said they might prepare the body in her room.
Well, it's none of my business. I will be at the castle. The professor asked me to stay there.
Oh. He's a peculiar man. The professor isn't usually that hospitable.
Tell me, Doctor, who is this professor? What kind of a man is he? What's he doing here?
We don't know. He came here 6 months ago, accompanied by a servant who's colored. He began by saying he owned the castle, which all these years had stood deserted on the mountain. took possession when his claim was honored officially.
And then?
Nothing. They gossip so much in the village, particularly about foreigners. And when the other one is black, they've great material.
Then we've suddenly got a black vampire.
Right. When it's also something which these peasants can't understand, then they run to Nanny. Stupid superstitions for old women. Goodbye, Inspector.
Thanks, Doctor.
If you will allow me to, Inspector, the best in the land, over 200 years old.
Looks just like blood. Get it from a vampire?
No, sir, no. You mustn't even think like that. And you certainly shouldn't say it.
Did the colored man mention I was asked by the professor to stay at the castle?
Yeah. He did, Inspector, yes, he did. You will certainly be a lot more comfortable, and no dead woman in the next bedroom. And when your car is repaired, you may as well leave it in my courtyard. Because, you know, there's only a footpath leading up to the castle.
Yes, but first I'd like to see the grotto.
You want to go in there alone?
No, not alone. My pistol will be along with me.
That won't help you if you see them. The dead can't be killed again.
Since you know so much, why don't you join me?
Me? All the saints protect me. I'm an old man. And besides, I'd really rather die in my own bed. Who'd look after my inn if anything happened? Tell me that.
Yes, I suppose you're right.
But here's a real good lantern. I think you'd better take it with you.
Have you read this yet? Another death has taken place. Under the eyes of the police, another woman has just been killed.
Are you planning to send an investigating team?
No. Give Doran a chance anyway. He only started the case yesterday.
Oh, but the newspapers are sure to make a big story of this.
And I hope for the best. In view of the situation, we'd better get in contact with Inspector Doran immediately. He must make a blood test on the girl.
Going to the grotto, Mr. Doran?
Well, if this is the right way, yes.
Shall I come with you?
Not afraid?
No, if the inspector's not. Why should I be frightened?
Here.
John! John! Where are you? Who told John that he might leave the castle? He's in grave danger.
Oh, Professor, what...
Go now. Leave me alone. John! John, where are you?
I just don't understand it. What are you looking for?
Well, I'm not so sure myself.
I don't see anything. Why are the men in the village so scared of this old hole? It all looks okay.
You're right. They're all stupid. Old women gossip. Wait a second. Am I crazy? Over there. I'm sure I saw a light blink.
Yes. I saw a light too. Maybe there are ghosts in here.
Did There hasn't been anyone here for 100 years, and I wouldn't mind running into one of those cute little vampire things, you know?
Oh!
Thanks, John. That was close.
Well, what's the matter with you?
I'm waiting for the inspector.
Ah.
It's top secret.
That's better. Don't laugh, John, but I had a feeling back there among those stalagmites that we were being watched one night in that place and a man would go crazy.
I'm not laughing at all, Inspector. I feel just the same way. What was that?
Well, this isn't a spot I care for.
Say, Inspector, do you think vampires like black blood?
I'm not sure, John, but I sure like your black skin. Come on. Here you are. One lantern, still intact. And me too.
Oh, Inspector, I have a message for you.
Thanks. Do you know where one might find the good doctor at this hour?
You should find him at his home, I think, sir.
Okay, then go tell him that I would like to see him as soon as he can come.
Right away, Inspector.
Hey, give me some wine.
Who is that man?
You don't need to be afraid that he'll hear you, sir. Thomas has been deaf since he was a child. He's the strongest man in the village. Oh, but he's harmless enough.
Watch it. Look. That guy just better not touch our girls.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you'd better tell him, huh?
Yes.
Or else he'll answer to me. Do you understand? Who gave you permission to go into the grottos? I've been looking all over for you. You were in the greatest of danger. Stupid man that you are. As if there wasn't already enough talk here about us. Difficulty upon difficulty. And on account of your foolishness.
Oh, sir, forgive me. I was wrong to go.
Did you invite the inspector as I instructed you?
Oh, yes, I have. I did it. Mr. Doran thanks you, and he'll come to the castle tonight. You can count on him coming.
Good.
Yes?
What's the matter, Inspector? You sent for me, I believe.
Yes. Read this while I finish packing.
Well, that's simple. It's only a matter of opening a vein and taking some blood. But what do you and the police hope to find? Do you think it was poison?
I wouldn't know. There's gossip. You've heard the talk that's going around.
Don't tell me you believe that gossip. It was idiotic of you to go and see Nanny, you know. She's just an old witch.
Huh? I thought you didn't believe in old witches.
Now that they've accepted you as another believer, you've added support to the rumors that vampires are about. The dead are dead.
Well, you must know. Come on, let's visit the dead girl.
Those idiots at the powerhouse. They can drink all right, but just try to get them to work.
Don't worry, I'm bringing a candle, Inspector.
This just can't be true. Well, what's your diagnosis this time, Doctor?
Peculiar. murderer must have gotten wind of the fact that the police planned to make a blood test of the corpse. Embarrassing for you, Inspector.
Well, Doctor, it really interests me that you choose to use the word murderer. Does that mean maybe you agree that these women met unnatural deaths? That's a new opinion, isn't it, Doctor?
Inspector,
No discussion. I will say that you've changed your mind when I make my report out. Your new diagnosis will help. That's all. I think you can go now, Doctor. Good night. Stefan, please see to it that the good doctor doesn't break his neck on the stairs. He's my star witness. Good night. Professor von Adelsberg?
Yes?
Frank Doran.
Come in.
Thank you.
I'm pleased to meet you, my dear Mr. Doran. Welcome to my humble home. Do please make it your home. My entire household is at your disposal.
Thank you for your kindness, Professor von Adelsberg.
My secretary will take you to your room. My servant has this evening off, you see.
Good evening, Mr. Doran.
Oh, I see we meet again.
Have you eaten yet?
Yes, I have. The innkeeper is a fabulous cook. I must thank you, Professor. Where did he go to?
We have no electric light in the castle. Come along, I'll show you your room now.
Thank you. Oh. Well, now, I admit, I didn't expect this.
What then?
Oh, a small dungeon, a water jug, a few rats.
Strange. But somehow laughing seems wrong in these old rooms, doesn't it?
These old walls could really tell some tales.
I'd rather you told me about how your work's going.
No, it's going splendidly. To welcome me, they've killed a seventh.
Yes, Maria from the inn. Yes, we heard. Ghastly.
And this evening, her corpse disappeared.
Oh, but now that can't be true.
I wouldn't know, but I'm sure that the good people in this town will come up with an explanation. Ghosts or vampires have stolen it away.
That's only natural for superstitious people. What do the police say?
We're giving no comment, and it's my opinion the police will clear this whole situation up, and without using a magician.
I'm so grateful that you could accept the professor's invitation to stay here. It's good to talk to someone. I mean that sometimes it's very lonely up here.
I hoped that you might sit. Oh, but never mind. It seems that the professor takes all your time.
My time has gone into 1,300 articles about experiments with blood. Blood corpuscles, blood groups, blood cells, anything and everything about blood.
Exhausting work.
Please, let's not talk about it. I must go now. Oh, the professor's expecting you downstairs.
Just a minute, Karen.
Yes?
Ever wear jewelry?
Would you like to buy me some?
Oh, well, not exactly. But I've always felt that a little jewelry can flatter a woman. Most of the women around here wear small crosses.
Most of the women around here believe in vampires, don't they, Mr. Doran? Good night.
Can't break out of here.
everything all right? In this house, we don't tolerate vanity. I thought that I'd made that clear when you first got here.
Good evening.
Huh?
Could I
Good
get
evening.
a coffee?
Yes.
Get him out, will you?
Better come back again some other time. Hmm? Hmm?
But I'm free this evening. I invite you all to drink with me.
I'm very sorry, John. You mustn't pay any attention.
Why
That's
shouldn't
right.
I?
Because he's deaf. He's not altogether responsible. He isn't exactly right in his mind. It's not his fault.
You flatter me greatly, Inspector Doran, by accepting my invitation. It was unthinkable to allow you to continue staying at that terrible hotel, and especially with a body in the room next to yours.
The pleasure is mine, thank you, Professor. I appreciate your concern, but I was spared the necessity of sleeping with a body in the room next to mine.
How's that?
The girl has disappeared.
What? Has the murderer stolen the body?
Your view is reminiscent of someone else's. It's the one the doctor had. Namely, the murderer is trying to remove any clues.
Huh. Is there a better answer, Inspector?
Not right now.
Please. To my illustrious guest.
Thank you.
When the weather's bad and you can't go out walking, my library is rather well stocked. Feel free to use it. You'll find that there are all manner of books here. Surely there are some in your field. You see, my interest is legal medicine. Please treat the castle as your own. 2 or 3 of the doors are locked. Will you please respect that? It's my laboratory. My experiments are not to the stage where I wish them publicized yet. You understand?
Of course I do. Though it seems ungrateful, I know. May I ask you why you have invited me here, Professor?
Oh, but naturally. Quite frankly, I was curious. You're the first actual detective I've ever met.
Then I must take care not to disappoint you in any way. I shall act like a detective all the time.
May I say I wish your first night with me brings you contentment and peace?
I know it will. I'm afraid that I'm keeping you from your work.
The ladies, they must babble. Yes, in my old age, I need much less sleep, you see.
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We must see the inspector. Well, do you hear? He's got to come along with us right now.
He's still sleeping.
Then go and wake him up.
He'll be real furious.
Now open
But
the
it
door.
can't be done.
Why can't it be done? We're in a hurry.
Professor Adelsberg told me that no strangers are to be allowed in. Even police. You wait here.
You?
No, too nervous. Much too scared.
Nervous?
It gives me the creeps. Wonder how the inspector can sleep here.
You'd almost say it was a cemetery. I'd much prefer the inn. Smells exactly like death.
Oh.
Smells like everything was rotting.
Well, what if the inspector can't smell very well?
Can't smell that. Oh.
Inspector. Oh. Inspector.
What is it?
2 policemen for you outside, Inspector.
Yes, I'm coming.
Inspector, did you sleep well?
I had a wonderful dream, John. 2 beautiful, exciting, and charming girls standing there by my bed. And...
Then what, Inspector?
Oh, no. It was only a dream, John. Do you dream any better? Differently?
No, I don't. No better. Dream ladies are no good.
No good. Well, now shall we go and see what the law wants me for? What's up?
Well, we finally found her.
Maria?
Yes.
She's in a well down at the bottom.
Who was it that found her?
Yeah.
It was Nanny who found her. She was on her way to the forest looking for her herbs, and she had to pass by there since the path goes right by the old well.
And does old Nanny usually look down in the well on her way to the forest? What for? To see if there's water in it suddenly?
Nanny says that she saw some black stuff caught on the edge of the well.
Black stuff?
Yes, nylon or something. And then she said she looked down and saw way down there was Maria in a black dress. Yeah.
Interesting. Perhaps she wasn't pleased with the white dress she was wearing.
Almighty God, you're right. It was a white dress, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, we better go.
Yes, Inspector.
John, give my apologies to the professor, will you? Don't forget.
It was black.
Go get me a ladder.
There isn't one long enough, Inspector. In the whole village, there isn't one.
Bring me that piece of wood over there.
Yes, sir. Go get it for the inspector.
Here you are, Inspector. Yes, sir.
Go on.
Careful, Inspector.
I need someone to help me.
Oh, sorry.
Steady. Inspector, you at the bottom?
Now hold the chain up and fasten a strong rope to it, then lower it again.
Yeah, right away. Yes, sir. Now, let's get him back up. All right, now. All together. Keep it moving. Faster. Faster. That's right.
A vampire.
Vampire. Come on, let's get him up.
Well, what do you say now, medicine man?
I think it's quite clear. The killer hid her in the well, hoping that no one would come across the body.
I'd like to see that man, Doctor. Must be quite an athlete.
Why?
He jumps with a corpse in his arms out of a second-story window, at the same time making sure the window is locked from the inside, and then he disappears without a trace. And why does she have her eyes open?
A result of the fall, I should think.
That sounds logical, but where did she get all those frilly nylon undies?
That's obvious. The killer had to get her other clothes because what she was wearing might give some evidence against him.
I'm curious what Nanny thinks of this theory.
I've already told you. But you won't believe me anyway. Last night there was one peering through my window. At midnight. The hour when they roam in search of blood.
Will you stop all this nonsense? It's all useless chatter. It's now a police case. You're wasting your time with this fool. What now, Inspector?
Have you got a morgue here?
Yes, in the graveyard chapel, sir.
And will you see to it that they get the body over to the morgue?
Right.
All right, Inspector.
Will you tell me what you're getting at?
I'm not getting at anything. I'm making use of the death certificate that you've already signed.
Here, didn't you ask for a blood specimen? I don't see what you think you'll find.
Why don't we let a pathologist see what he thinks?
But that suits me fine. Let someone else take the responsibility.
That blood is all the proof you need. Hundreds could be killed with this blood. This is vampire's blood.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you give me this number, please? Incidentally, remember I got a telegram yesterday. I wondered if there was anyone else here when it arrived.
I don't remember. Oh, yes. There was that Negro, the castle servant. He wanted to mail something. He gives me the willies, he does. I don't trust him for a minute. That's my opinion. Yes? Here you are, Inspector.
Hello. Chief? Yes, it's Durham. I've some difficulties here. Sure. You're right, but suppose I told you I think it's the supernatural. Oh, no, of course I've not been drinking, and I'm not crazy. I'm asking for help, Chief. Send one of those geniuses of yours down here.
No, no. That would set the press off for sure. I've every confidence in you, Doran. I'll send nobody. We have to be ready for everything. If you can't clear this up on your own, then well, you just tell me, please, but don't worry me with that business I get from my own agents.
There's something else, Chief. Right after I got here, the infrared viewer disappeared.
You must just manage on your own somehow. There's no way I can help. If you can't crack it, tell me.
Okay, I'll keep at it, Chief, naturally, and make some progress. That's all. It's an official call.
Goodbye, then, Inspector.
Good evening, Professor.
How often must I tell you that you should knock first?
You won't need to stand for my bad manners very much longer, Professor. I've typed all the last experiments. That finishes my work here, and I can leave in the morning.
Oh. You plan to leave us so soon? I know it's been hard on you. I'd hoped that you would think of staying.
That's most flattering of you, Professor. But our agreement was only for 3 weeks.
I know. You fit so well into the surroundings of this old place. You're rather like new blood for this antique, disintegrated place. I've grown rather fond of you.
You're really very kind.
Not at all. Well, I must work now. Would you be good enough to get the Bible that's in the Countess Barbara's quarters?
And where's that?
It's directly in back of the choir of the castle chapel.
I'm sure I can find it. And what should I say to the Countess?
Well, I doubt very much you'll find her, since she's been dead for 200 years. But bring along my Bible. It's lying on a pillow placed close by her bed. Meanwhile, perhaps I'll be able to find a way to persuade you to stay.
Tell me, what's the quickest way to get this sample of blood to the city?
you won't be able to find a single soul who will touch that cursed stuff.
Except Nanny or the doctor, they will.
Right you are.
I can send Nanny into town in my car. Have you a driver for it?
Oh, you won't get anybody from here to go against the will of the vampires. They're too afraid.
What have the vampires to do with a blood sample?
You try it yourself then, Inspector. I'm willing to bet anything you want that you won't get anybody to do it.
Well, how far is the city?
It's around 2 hours trip there and back.
If anybody wants me for anything, I'll be back in 2 hours.
Ha! I doubt if you will even get started by then, Inspector.
Now, what's gone wrong with this stupid car?
The mechanic took the battery away this morning to be charged, so why not relax?
How am I supposed to get this to the city?
Guess you don't, Inspector. Unfortunately, the doctor has the only other car in the village, and he's been called away.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, what's the matter?
I'm looking for Miss Karen. You, Professor, do you know where she might have gone?
Most likely she's up in her room, packing.
She's not in her room, sir.
Don't worry. When she's hungry, I'm sure she'll turn up for dinner.
Inspector. Inspector.
What is it?
Miss Karen's vanished.
Did you look everywhere?
Everywhere I could. But not there. I'll wait here, Inspector. I'm scared. It's no good.
The dirty work's fallen to me, I see.
Oh, but you don't believe. And so, you're not afraid.
You'd better stay right here. And...
Yes, I'll wait right here.
And come at once, if I should call.
Karen?
I'll come.
Karen?
Come at once.
Karen!
Here!
I'm coming.
I'm here!
Karen!
I'm here!
What kind of a spook house is this?
Oh, please, take me away, Inspector.
First, the name's Frank, and second, don't worry. I'm here. It'll be all right. Come along. Wait. Either coffins are cheap around here, or well, they haven't got enough beds.
Has someone used this thing as a bed, do you think?
Yes, just look for yourself. This was slept in, I'm sure.
The professor?
And it's a screwy idea, but it seems that he's been reading detective stories.
Oh, please, let's go.
Of course.
What is it?
A book of instructions for vampires.
And that was in that place?
Yes, in the coffin there. The mysteries of black magic.
Frank, what is it? What's wrong?
Hello? Yes? The generator's on full, and still no power is coming through. 800 kilowatts are pouring out, and still nothing happens.
Frank, I'm frightened.
Inspector. The doctor wants you, Inspector.
All right. What is it?
I've awful news, Inspector.
What is it now?
The corpse is gone again.
Have you looked down the well?
We've looked all over.
Is there any power in the village?
None at all. The whole village is dark. That's what gave me the idea of taking a look at the body.
And the dogs have begun howling?
Yes. But how did you know? Incredible. I think you're right. There's something to what you say.
Karen, we've got to get to the bottom of this. Bring my coat, please. Come along.
Do you think you can stop these creatures?
Have you finally admitted that we're up against something inhuman?
There isn't anything else I can think.
Well, at last.
Inspector?
Was the door forced, Doctor?
No, I made sure it was guarded by the policeman.
How about the window?
Locked from inside.
Footprints around the window?
None.
Hard ground?
No, soft earth.
Then have the church bells rung.
Why, sir?
Within the next 15 minutes, I want all the men assembled in the marketplace, understand?
Right.
And each one must bring 6 torches with him.
Right.
We will search the whole area. We'll search till we find that body. Possibly until morning. I won't give up until we have that body lying in its coffin.
And I'll sit on it till it's lowered into its grave.
I'm cold, Frank. I'll wait at the castle.
Alone?
Oh, but I won't be. John will be there with me.
You should let her go. This isn't work for women.
All right. Be careful, though. We don't know who these creatures are. Constable,
Inspector?
I want you to stay with this lady until we get back.
All right, Inspector. You too. I'm expecting you to back me up in this.
In what?
When I tell them that we are dealing with some supernatural phenomenon and not humans.
That's a strange thing to say, Inspector.
Yes, yesterday I would have laughed if someone had suggested that. But now I'm not so...
What was that?
Karen!
No! 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 No!
What are you doing?
Nanny's powder.
Dead.
Quick, let's get her to Nanny. I've got to be sure I've done it right.
You forget that I'm the doctor.
This isn't a case for a doctor.
I'm sorry, you're right, Inspector.
It's right, my boy. You have successfully broken their spell by doing exactly as you were supposed to. And now go. Find their master. When you do, destroy him, and in doing so, you will lift his curse from us.
You said yourself it's impossible to kill these creatures.
No, they cannot be killed. They must be destroyed, I said. But one must know how. And one must also believe. You, Doctor, you didn't listen to me, did you? You thought me an old, foolish, superstitious woman. Only he is able to free us from the vampire's curse. When the master is found. I must give you these. Don't let them be taken from your hands. You must quietly come upon him in his coffin. 1 hour after midnight, he returns after his nightly wanderings and sleeps in his coffin. Without peace, restless and yearning to rise again and spread his death. Then you shall place this stake over his heart. You've only time for 3 strokes.
Men, I want you to listen to me. The murderer is in the grotto. I will need your help, and together we will destroy him.
Oh, the men, sir. They won't go in there. Oh, no.
You're fine heroes.
And I'll go alone.
I'll come with you.
Doctor, you get some men and take a look around the village.
Right. Now, come on.
There. Look. You see it? A shadow. I'm sure it moved.
Idiot, you wouldn't dare. You must rest. Listen to me. Me alone.
We can't be any help.
There. That's where I was locked in.
And those stairs lead to the room with the coffin. We must go through the castle. What's the matter, John? What are you doing here?
I'm getting out. And I won't ever come back here either.
What happened, anyway?
The professor came back suddenly, shouting. Where is my book? You've stolen it. He wouldn't even listen to me. When I said it wasn't me, Then he went wild, and then he said, "Get out." And so there was nothing else for me to do. I got out of there.
What are you going to do now?
I heard, Inspector, that Miss Karen was leaving in the morning. I want to work for you, Miss Karen, from now on.
That's terribly sweet, but, John, my salary isn't big enough to afford
We'll
you.
talk about this in the morning. We must get back to the grotto, John. Come.
But the professor is...
Come on.
Here, let me try it, sir.
Pretty strong.
What am I to do with her?
Take her upstairs. She's finally found peace.
You don't believe in vampires. I do.